Hello there, everyone. This is Andre of GVGINU. Thank you very much for giving me your time and your ear and for listening to what I have to say. Sorry, I got a little tongue tied right there. Um, yeah, you saw the title, probably wondering what the heck would Nintendo Card Fighters be, and that's why I'm here to walk you through the idea. Um, Essentially, Nintendo Card Fighters would be how could I say this? It'd be similar to how the Yu-Gi-Oh games are played, at least in the if you've seen the anime and they got to the what was it? Can't remember that daggone thing that kind of sponsored. I think it was Battle City or something like that. Where the characters walked around with the dual disc things on their arms, and they would battle at random places and points. It'd literally be something like that. Where you get the game, you have multiple different decks of cards and things that you can buy, packets of cards that you can buy that have like the NFC chip, but they're not the same as the amiibo cards. They're not the same as the amiibo cards. They do not work as the amiibo cards do. Or maybe they could. They could have a dual purpose. But the main purpose for getting them would be to use them in the game. And you could set your deck up to have like I'll go through the different card types. It'd be better to do that first. You'd have your attacking type characters. You'd have your characters, which would be sort of like, like Mario. I know this is an AR card for the 3DS. You have like Mario, Link, Samus, Pit, Ike, Marth, Lucina, Rosalina, Peach, Luigi, Toad, Pikmin, Bowser, Ganon. You're getting my point. You know what I'm talking about. You just have like these different characters that you can summon to your field by swiping them over the NFC reader on your Wii U gamepad while you're playing the game, and you can have up to 5 character cards. You know what? 6. Up to 6 character cards that you could utilize on your field at any given time, where you'd have a front portion of your field, a middle portion of your field, and a back portion of your field. All of your character cards can either be in the middle or the front portion of your field. If they're in the front portion of the field, they'll get a boost in attack power, but they'll also take more damage. If they're toward the middle portion of the field, they will get a defensive boost, but they will deal less damage. Is that making sense to you? It's kind of like playing an RPG, like the older Final Fantasy games where you could step a character forward and you could deal out more damage with them, but they take a harder hit. So you'd have to like make sure that the defense was buffed pretty well before you stepped them up to the front of the line. So I would personally set it up like how Yu-Gi-Oh cards are, where you have your basic number of attack and defense. Let's use Mario for example. Let's say his base attack points are 1,500 and his basic defensive points is 1,350. Put him on the front line, that 1,500 will go up to 1,750. You put him on the back line, that 1,350 will bump up to 1,600. And that's my thinking, like that. So you could choose whether or not you want a certain card to be an attack type card or a defensive type card, depending on how you want to set your game plan up. And the backfield across will allow you to use specialized cards that could be set up to trap people who attack you, or activate special attacks with your characters, as long as you have the card for the special attack, and use like recovery items for your particular characters, or your life points. Not life points. I don't want to steal everything from Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess we can call it soul points. I don't know why I grabbed that. It was just sitting in the way of something, so I moved it. But yeah, soul points, and that would be good. I don't want to give a definite amount to that just yet because I wasn't thinking about that. But yeah, you have your character cards, and I just listed off a bunch of other types of cards. I guess instead of calling it a trap, it'd be a reversal card. Reversal card. I don't know how I said it like that. Where someone attacks you, and you can flip this card, and there's certain ones pertain to certain characters, and other ones are just generalized, where they can stop an attack or reverse an attack's power back to the user of the attack, which would deal damage directly to their soul points. Then there's the special character attacks, which those would have a variety of different uses. Some could attack the other player directly. Some could wipe the field out of enemy characters. Just a bunch of different uses. Like I said, it would be set up somewhat like Yu-Gi-Oh! Then there are special cards that could stop your opponent from being able to attack you for a certain number of rounds, and which would force them into a defensive posture, where they'd have to literally pull all of their characters back to a defensive mode to protect themselves. And there's a lot of different things that they could do. And then the restoration stuff for like restoring your points or restoring your character's soul points, or maybe restoring or boosting the attack or defensive points of a particular card put out on the field. Like, for example, a special card would give Mario the Fire Flower, and then he'd turn from Super Mario to Fire Mario, and he'd get a boost in attack points by like just give a random number, like 400 points. So he'd be up from 15 to 19 if he was in the back line. And if he was on front, he'd be up to 2150, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. 2150. Or is it? No, it would be 2250 because it said 1750. Yeah, 1750. Whatever. Okay. Now you'd have to have the physical cards to play this game, which I know that would irritate a lot of people. That would irritate so many people. Now I understand why that would irritate you, but what's the purpose of having the card game and scanning the stuff to the Wii U gamepad utilizing the NFC chip in the controller if you don't actually put full effort into it and actually make it the reasoning you're playing? Now, I will say you can't scan a singular card itself more than once, because the game will read the card, and each card will have its own serial number. Doesn't matter if they're clone cards or not. Each card would have its own serial number, and for that particular match, you can only use that serial number once. So yes, there would be limitations to that. And also your deck could have no more than maybe 20 character cards, and the rest would have to be other cards to enhance your play. So I'd say the decks would be about 60 to 65 cards. 70 cards. Decks could be 70 cards worth, and then you could have 20 different character cards for that setup. I mean, the game would come with a starter set of cards, so you'd have your starter deck to play the game, which would you'd have to have at minimum to play a match 50 cards. Yes, 50 cards at minimum, and maximum deck size could be 70 cards. And I know this is sounding like a lot more work. It's probably a lot more work than I'm thinking it is, but it's sounding like a lot of work. But I think it would be kind of fun. I don't know. Maybe I'm just quirky, and I think it would be an interesting thing to be able to have Mario and Link standing next to each other on a little gridded field, and I'm using them against somebody else who might have like Midna and Midna and maybe Toadette, I was just trying to think of random characters. But it'd be interesting to have like a Yu-Gi-Oh esque Nintendo card game where you're playing back and forth. Obviously, this is something I would see would have online play because Nintendo's not letting two Wii U gamepads be used at once, so we'll have to definitely have online play. There could be download play for 3DS, but that would require a new 3DS or the 3DS that you have to have the NFC reader in order for that to be played that way locally. And I think that might be a bit of a hiccup, a problem. Obviously, I would for this type of game, I would like to have it set up for like a local mode that might have a story, like just some weird story as to how the Nintendo characters became cards and they got forced into this. I wouldn't even say forced. They got pulled into this this world where they became these card characters and they have to battle on this field in order to get themselves back out of it and get home to their respective places in the Nintendo universe. But yeah, I for something like that, I haven't really sat down and thought like a full story out, so you'll have to forgive that. That's just an example. It's probably not a good example, but it's an example. I think something like that could work out. I mean, I'm pretty sure it could work out. It would just be up to Nintendo to figure out how to do it, because honestly, I don't. I mean, I could figure out how to do it, but I'd have to have like time to really sit down and figure everything out and figure out all the rules and all the things that you can do and can't do and stuff like that. And that's right now. I'm just giving the idea, just giving the thought to it, putting it out there. And say if anybody's really interested, I mean, we could really hash this idea out in like some sort of podcast or something. I could do a Gamer Idea Foundry on it, but that's not going to be my first Gamer Idea Foundry for this year. I gotta get that started back up too. But I think I'm done with this right now. I'm just straightening back out my my AR cards because I just kind of let them get misconfigured here. Got them arranged funny. But yeah, I think that's it. There's not really a whole lot more that I really want to add to it just yet, because like I said, this is something that could really just be sat down and hashed out in like a really decent way in a podcast. And for something like that, I might just do one based on that idea, but it's probably going to take me a little while to come up with the necessary rules and stuff. So I think I'll do that. I might make that happen later on this year. But yeah, I'm done with the idea for now. So I'll come back to it when I've come up with like the rules and the setup for everything. And I'm going to look at a bunch of different other card games in order to kind of get my thoughts together and come up with a basic set of rules. So outside of that, thank you very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. Until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out.